As school district leaders grapple with how to best serve students from low-income families, they're also struggling with how to pay for the services those kids need. That's true in Biddeford, where there is a high rate of students who are either in low-income families or facing homelessness. Now, Biddeford's mayor and other leaders from around the state are pushing for changes in how some of their funding is calculated. News Center Maine's Raya Wooten explains.
To Mayor. Dear Mayor, thank you for protecting Biddeford, Love River.
Yeah.
What type of responsibility does that speak to you that you have to your students here?
Yeah, I gotta deliver, right?
That responsibility to deliver motivates Biddeford Mayor Marty Groman to secure as much support as he can for two bills, LD 501 and LD 193. If passed, one bill would increase the education reimbursement funding schools receive for each economically disadvantaged student. The other calls for an increase for every student who is experiencing homelessness. Mayor Groman says that's a much better alternative to the current education funding structure, which is primarily determined by property taxes.
Right now, we have this reverse Robin Hood effect.
What happens is that...
And Superintendent Jeremy Ray, who oversees Biddeford-Saco and Dayton schools, explains why.
A community that has higher property valuation actually gets less state funding in educational subsidy, based off the belief that that community has the ability to raise more funds.
Ray says property valuations across the state, even in places like Biddeford, have gone up. But household incomes for many families have stayed the same, creating an imbalanced school funding structure.
It's difficult for us here in town to sometimes look at the funding that we receive, knowing that we have 60% of our students who are economically disadvantaged, and seeing that our state share or percentage of state funding is less than that with communities in the Portland area who are receiving more state funding with us, with only 3 or 4% of their students in poverty.
It's a system supporters of these bills say must be reworked.
The help would be, to each of the kids that wrote these cards,
In Biddeford, Raya Wooten, News Center Maine.
Both of the bills in the State House could lead to an increase in state taxes, something Republicans in the House and Senate have generally opposed. However, this effort is receiving some support from GOP lawmakers, including Representative Will Toole from Machias, who's co-sponsoring one of the bills. He says providing more funding for schools with low-income students is a priority worth paying for.